A's video on Peggy, take 6. I got through most of it, but then I got distracted by apostrophes. So, hi, this is A. I am finally doing what I promised I would do last month, which was getting caught up on all the videos that I have not been doing from 4 or 5 months ago, which is a lot. I'm going to just do it all day today in between studying. We were supposed to get started in September, but I got completely busy with moving and unpacking and setting up my room and school and studies, which is just takes up your life. It's horrible. But moving on. This is not about me. This is about Peggy. Peggy, who everyone else has already done their video on, so there isn't a lot left for me to say that anybody who isn't Peggy or the 4 of us who may be watching these videos could ever need to know about her, because the other 2 kind of said everything. So I'm gonna start with how I met her, because how we met is a pretty funny story. Not really funny. I find it amusing. It's typical of us. And she's also the one that I remember the most, like the specific incidents of how we met and got to know each other. Whereas with Bear, I know how we got to know each other, but I can't say like when or our first conversation or my first impression of her. We just started to get to know each other my freshman year. And Pearl, I honestly don't even remember how we met or got to know each other or how you and I became friends. You kind of just started existing, just this midget freshman or something by my side, and you were there with everybody else I hung out with, and then suddenly the 4 of us were friends and became like a group. I don't know. I honestly don't know. But that's a different video. Peggy and I met my sophomore year of high school, which was her junior year. It was the first year I did color guard, my first season in fall, and we met in band camp, obviously, and it was very interesting. Band camp was intense that first year for me. I was not expecting it to be like that. I mean, I've heard stories about band camp. You've heard stories about band camp, but you don't actually ever know band camp until you've been through it. Which is why I think, Peggy, you and I need to do a video on band camp. That would be on crack. It would be weird, but it would be fun. Just reminiscing. So we were inside, I think our first or second day of band camp, out of the heat finally. It was nice and cold in the AC. We'd been outside all day. We were in our lunch break. And we're sitting in our school. There was a little hallway with lockers in between the band hallway and the little theater practice room where all the other people were sitting, and then the actual theater auditorium was behind us. We were just sitting in this small little hallway, eating. I don't know what I was eating, something. I hardly ever ate that time. And then you were sitting across from me, and then you said something about Yu-Gi-Oh! And I perked up, because I hardly knew anybody in color guard that first semester in the beginning, because I got in because Paula Hatfield told me to try out. I didn't really know anybody else in color guard. But you were there, and you said something about Yu-Gi-Oh! And I was like, wait, someone who likes what I like? You must be kidding. Because most people don't talk about Yu-Gi-Oh! Anymore, because it became like a thing of our childhood and kind of lame. But I still liked it. It was my childhood. I will always like it. And he started saying something, and I'm like, scooching in. I'm like, what did you say? Did you say Yu-Gi-Oh? And she's like, yeah, I watched this thing called the Abridged series. The Yu-Gi-Oh! Abridged series. I'm like, the Abridged series? What is that? So she tells me to watch this video on YouTube that somebody made of the first couple episodes of the Yu-Gi-Oh! TV show. And we'll like to mention that the Abridged series of Yu-Gi-Oh! Is beautiful in every single way, really. Apparently I'm not funny at all, according to Pearl, most of the time. Yeah. Which, I actually have to talk to you about that, because seeing as, even though I kill the funny most of the time it's going on, you still laugh at me killing the funny. So, I still make you laugh, which still should technically mean I'm somewhat funny in a strange way. But that's not, this video is not about me at all, is it? Yeah, moving on. If you haven't seen the Abridged series of Yu-Gi-Oh, or if you've forgotten about the Abridged series, I don't know how you can, pause this, go look it up, watch like the 5 minutes of the first episode, crack your head off, and then come back to me so that at least you will have laughed a little bit during the entirety of this video, because apparently I'm not funny at all. But I got into it, and I started watching it with you, with her, with Peggy, and talking to you, her, about it. I can't realize if I'm talking to Peggy specifically, or just talking about Peggy right now. My mind is gone, but okay. Um, and we ended up having a lot more in common about things we liked, and started talking and hanging out, and that was how we became friends. We hit it off, obviously, and then halfway, the reason we became what we are now is halfway through that first season of Color Guard, we started creating. In Color Guard, it was just a bunch of girls, and we get bored easily, and so to entertain ourselves and to distract ourselves from the intense stuff that is Color Guard, fun but still pretty intense, we decided to create relationships, more like just take on lovers. All of us had our own lover or girlfriend or something. It was all connected in a very complicated web of relationships. And somehow, I came back one week after a game or something, one of our home games, I think, or a competition, and that Monday, we're sitting at lunch, because we were sitting at lunch together by then, all the time, and you turn around and tell me that we're married. But apparently we got married over the weekend after the competition, but you figured I probably didn't remember any of the ceremony, which is true, because I really don't remember still to this day how we ended up getting married. But we were married, and then it all worked out pretty well, because between the two of us, we had like the majority of the guard in our harem, so we just integrated our two harems and became like the only married couple in the group. I kind of ruled over everybody, well, not really ruled over everybody else, but it was fun. I didn't know why, but then we were married, and then we were married on Facebook too, which actually caused a lot of really funny stories that I will have to explain some other time. Like the time when my mom was convinced that we were actually lesbian lovers in real life, and tried to ask me if it was true and if that was why I wanted to spend a week with Florida in Florida with 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 Peggy. That was the best. I remember telling you about that, about showing you the text message that I got en route, and I'm like, I still to this day crack up about that every randomly. Just, oh my god, it's beautiful. So, and somebody also called my mom's friend from India asking about why I was married to a girl on Facebook and if he should start praying for me to change my sinful ways of homosexuality. It's quite. You and I have had some quite interesting stories, we will admit. Uh, okay, hold on. There were criterias for this video. I was supposed to cover a few things. 3 words to describe her, how we met, or like my first impression, and a memory. My first impression, that she was fun and cool and I liked her. I'm really bad with first impressions. I have really vague impressions of everybody, so don't ask. And things to explain, 3 words to explain her. You can't stick to 3 words. It's really hard to stick to 3 words for anybody who is a really close friend of yours, like the 3 of you are. But I guess you already said this, she's super, super nice. A little too nice child. I'm glad to see that you started learning to say no. I noticed that a little bit in Florida. I was happy to see that. But you need to do more. Second thing is, she's super special. She's a special in her own way. There's nobody like Peggy in this world. Which makes sense, because I mean, where else do you see Pegacorns in this world aside from Peggy? I have never seen one ever in my life aside from her. She is the only of her kind, and she will forever be special. And the third thing, it's not really a word, but it's something that happens a lot with her. The 3 of us will often show up at her house and spend the entire day with her. We don't actually ever do anything productive, like when I go and bother her at her house when she used to live in Virginia. We didn't actually ever do anything productive or have anything planned. We just kind of just hung out all day, talked about, I don't know what we talked about, watched videos, something, maybe Italia stuff. I don't know. We did stuff. We didn't do anything that if I tried, like when my parents would ask me when I got home that day, what'd you do at Bria's house? I can't explain it to you, okay? We just were, and that was probably the best part about her. That you can just spend the whole day with her doing absolutely nothing, and you will have had probably one of the best days in your life. I did that a lot. I showed up at her house a lot, and especially when I was feeling upset or just wanted to get away from stuff, and I would just bother her all day. She would never care, which is really nice. She's really welcoming and comforting, and she'd never care, and we just hang out and mooch off of her pantry. I did not mooch that much. I only mooched snacks. There were other people who mooched entire meals several days off of her, but I'm not going to name any names because I don't name names. No, I'm not a tattletale at all. So, but yes, we mooched off of her and hung out with her, and she was the best thing on the planet. And this has now become like 12 minutes, so I think that's all I have to say. Oh, no. First memory with her. It's a recent memory. It's when I was down in Florida with her. Got to visit her for a week for my birthday, which was awesome. Especially because it was right before I moved up here to Ohio, so really nice to get to see her before I had to go away from everybody else and feel sad and alone. But if you see right, I can't do this. It's backwards. There we go. Right here. This is a beautiful poster of Walt Disney and a quote and from him, which I got when I was in Florida with her. We went to Walt Disney World. It was amazing. There was another week where I just spent the whole week with her, and we honestly, the only things we did were do an Italian marathon, do a Born Identity Supremacy movie, and then watched the actual movie that night for my birthday marathon, and then we went to Plato's Closet and had Vietnamese food and went to Disney World the last day. Those were the only things we did, and that was took up a total of like 3 days, and I was there for a week. We did nothing, but I still had an amazing time. It was probably one of my favorite birthdays because it was so relaxing, and I didn't have to think about anything, which is good. We made food, though. We made Jello cocktails, which were really good. And we tried to make a smoothie, I think, one day. I don't remember. But it was a good week. I did. Thank you. We'll do that again. Wherever someone else moves to someplace somewhat interesting. Don't come to Ohio. It's not interesting. It's also cold. It's September 21st. I go outside in a jacket and boots. It's freezing. So when somebody else moves to someplace interesting, like Bear, if she goes to New York, we'll go visit and have a party of doing nothing. Okay, I think I'm getting tired. Like, I lost all the energy that I had. I had so much more energy when I was doing this the first time around, so I'm sorry. But at least it got done. And I'm gonna go do some homework and stuff, and then I'm gonna put the next video up, which will be on Bear. See, Pearl? I'm getting caught up on everything. You kept looking down at me in the other videos. I watched you, and you were staring at me and saying that I wasn't finishing, but I had to finish. So here I am, actually finishing everything. So now go bother Peggy, because she hasn't finished anything yet either. Bye.